Hey there, my fellow lunatics, and welcome to Dakon's Madhouse. Hey everybody, today I've got an automatic cattle farm designed by my friend Twig. It keeps your cattle fed and provides you with crafting materials as well as marbled meat. Let's take a closer look at the design. Alright, in order to craft this farm, what you're going to need are 22 blocks of any kind to use as walls, 2 logic circuits, 5 electrical wires, 6 conveyor belts, 1 electricity generator, 5 robot arms, 2 drills, 2 double chests, 1 feeding trough, food for cattle, and 2 cattle transport boxes, each containing a cattle of the same type of your choice. Alright, so the size of this farm is going to be 7 tiles by 8 tiles, so it's not very big. I'm going to start by placing down one of my double chests here near the bottom right hand corner. And then I'm going to set up a robot arm right above it with the claw facing toward the chest. Then I'm going to set up another robot arm with the claw facing away from the chest. Next, I'm going to take my drill, and it doesn't matter if you use a crude drill or a scarlet drill, both are perfectly fine in this case. I went with scarlet drill just out of habit. So above the robot arm where the claw is facing away from the chest, you are going to place 1 drill, and the drill is going to be facing inward toward the build. So for me, it's going to be facing to the left here. You can see I've got the arrow pointing left. Then in the next tile to the left of the drill, you're going to place a wire. Above the wire and the drill, we're going to place our logic circuits. So the first logic circuit is going to be facing toward the double chest. So you can see here, it's kind of highlighted. The arrow is pointing down. That's where my down arrow facing logic circuit's going to go. Then I'm going to rotate that 1 to the left so that it's now facing inward so that it's pointing toward the other logic circuit, and I'm going to place that down. We're going to go back to our wires, and we're going to place the remaining wires going around the logic circuits. Now go back to your robot arms, and we're going to place 2 robot arms, both of them facing in toward the wires themselves, so that both of the claws are above these 2 wires here. At this point, you've essentially completed your electrical circuit, and once we place the electrical generator, this thing will be powered and working. So let's actually go ahead and do that. The electrical generator goes right below the 2 robot arms here. You can see that this drill is turning, but it doesn't turn all the time. Next, let's go to the conveyor belts. And we're going to turn the conveyor belts so that they're facing up toward these robot arms. And we're going to place 2 of them right here. What this will do is this forces anything that tries to move down into these robot arms. Next, we're going to turn the conveyor belts so that they're facing away from the farm and place 1 just below the electricity generator. What this will do is force anything that has gotten to the left to this point away from the rest of the conveyor belts, separating those that are stuck here from those that are already 1 tile to the left. And now we're going to place another drill, and this one's going to be 1 tile up next to the electrical generator. As you can see, this one's always running. So any cattle that moves this way is going to start taking damage, and they're eventually going to die. And we're going to collect that meat with conveyor belts. We're turning the conveyor belts up so that the flow is away from the drill, and we're placing them behind the robot arms. Then you're going to turn the conveyor belts once more so that the arrow is facing to the right, and place that above your other 2 conveyor belts. Now anything that is coming down these belts will be turned over to this spot right here. Next, you're going to take your final robot arm, and when you're standing in this empty tile that is above the 2 robot arms that we've got here, you're going to go to the right 1 And this is where you place your other robot arm. It's going to be above the 2 wires here. Now what it's going to do is it's going to grab anything that comes from these 2 robot arms or from this drill. They come down this conveyor belt and get grabbed by this robot arm, where you will then take your final double chest. You can rotate this any way you want as long as it's horizontal. And you place that here. This is your collection chest. What you're going to do next is you're going to grab the feeding trough and you're going to turn it so that it is vertical. And you're going to place the feeding trough right in the middle of all of this so that the bottom tile of the feeding trough is connected to this drill. And then you're going to fill it. Put whatever crop you are going to need into the trough, and you can put any extras that you have into the double chest here. Finally, you're going to want to take your cattle and you're going to want to place them into the farm itself. The cattle are going to live underneath these 2 robot arms. So you just release your cattle into the 2 tiles up there, and now we're going to wall them in so that they can't escape. Make sure that you leave the gap so that extra cattle that get forced into this area can be attacked by the drill. And also make sure you leave a gap here for the robot arm to be able to pick up the loot that it gets. Finally, we'll just cover up these so you don't have to look at them. And that is everything. At this point, your farm is complete. The cattle will sit here, they will eat their food, they'll stay happy, they'll produce milk in the case of the moulin, and any extra cattle that get birthed will eventually, as the thing overflows, get forced to the left, where they will get killed and their meat will get harvested as well. Sorry about the lighting, but here's an example of the same mob farm design, but kind of scaled a little bit and connected to my auto sorting system. I have at least one of each of the cattle types hooked up and producing their happy products and getting me meat as well. And all of it gets automatically sorted into my auto sorting system also. You can easily scale this up with the same cattle or with different cattle and make it and you can even compact it up a little bit. One thing I will say about this design that I have here is that because it's a little bit more compact, there are slightly higher chances for the mobs to kind of push their way to the drill a little bit easier. And so sometimes I do end up having to replace cattle because it will get down to just one of them left. I've even had some cattle escape from this before, so I've added some extra walls to try to protect them. But I'm not 100% sure if it's working yet. Now, I would consider this cattle farm design version 1.0 of the farm. So I definitely think that there's some room for improvement, and I would love to get people's opinions on it. Make this farm yourself, tweak this farm, play around with it, scale it up. Let me know what happens when it gets big, because I think there's a lot of room to really improve on the design, even though I think that this is a very efficient design in the way it's put together. It's very compact, but I definitely still think that we can make it better. So leave a comment. Let me know how you think that this one can be made better, and let's see if maybe together we can design a version 2 someday. I hope you found this video informative and helpful. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for future content, and if you are feeling really generous, please join us on Patreon or become a YouTube member. Your support means the world to me, and I can't do it without you. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Stay happy, stay healthy, and above all, stay crazy.